What's going on? It's Snoop, and I'm here to announce that the new Happy Dad and Death Row Records flavor is great. And now, it's officially in stores. I chose the flavor, and the team at Happy Dad, they spent months perfecting it. And it's my new favorite drink. If you're chilling at home or turning up at the club, make sure you do it right with the Happy Dad and Death Row Grape. Call your local liquor stores and see who has it. It's everywhere now. You can also order it on GoPuff app, Instacart, and Drizzly in some areas. You gotta be 21 and over and drink responsibly. And also, look out for the official Death Row and Happy Dad merch collaboration. Please believe it when I tell you this.
Try this again, boys. Let's try this again. You guys already know what's about to happen. We're in Nashville, 4 Seasons. We've got Secret Service everywhere right now.
I'm nervous, man.
Oh, I'm good. Just quiet right now. Need to have a couple Happy Dads before this one. Steiny Zap. Look at him. Guys pacing around. I'm a little nervous. Yeah. I mean, for this one, kind of. The other ones are like whatever. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of intense. Imagine we just butcher this. All the other reporters, they do this too. They just don't show it, right?
Yeah, Tucker definitely.
Tucker doesn't drink, but Sean Hannity definitely slams a few before. But we're gonna show it, you know? Because we're a lot more real, so. All right, guys, President Trump's about to walk in. Before he walks in, you guys know, every week on the Full Send podcast, we're shouting out bars that carry Happy Dad. So if you work at a bar, if you own a bar, tag us on Instagram at Happy Dad. We're always looking who's tagging us. We're gonna shout out some bars that carry Happy Dad. We got Encore Beach Club in Las Vegas, Nevada. We got Top Golf in Gilbert, Arizona. I'm coming there. We got Komodo in Dallas and Miami. We got Bottled Blonde in Scottsdale, Dallas, Fort Worth, Miami, Houston. Shout out the Bottled Blonde boys. So yeah, tag us on Instagram at Happy Dad. We're looking out for that every single week if you want to shout it on the Full Send podcast. I think Trump's about to walk in, so we gotta go, boys.
Oh, they're not gonna cut you again. They're not gonna cut you again. They don't have the courage to do that.
Great to see you.
That's right.
Trump, how are you? Good to see you.
It's a great honor. Come on, let's go do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Glad to have you back.
Coming to the speech. I'm making a speech in a little while.
Are you?
As soon as I'm finished with you.
Oh my God, we have to go for sure.
Then the easy work starts.
Exactly.
The speech.
No, we were saying last time we had you on, it's a great honor to have you back. We really appreciate it. Last time we had you on, it was our biggest episode ever, obviously. 7 million views in 24 hours. It was crushing, going viral. I feel like you did such a good job too. Like everybody loved it on both sides, and then YouTube took it down.
Yeah.
But you called it.
I said they're going to take it down because we talked about election fraud. In fact, if we talk about it again, they'll take it down again. But what difference does it make? There are a lot of other channels, a lot of other networks and platforms. But you guys were great. You said, we will not change it. We're not going to amend it. We're not going to take anything out. And it did really hit. It was a big monster, wasn't it?
Huge.
Well,
Huge.
It's because of you much more than me, I would assume.
And then we saw you at UFC. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're good friends with Dana. We want to give a shout out to Dana for even putting
He's
this
amazing,
together.
actually, isn't he?
He's the best guy
amazing.
ever.
We walked in and he said he's never seen anything like that. That was a good walk-in. The place went crazy. It went wild.
When you walk in like that, do you always expect like a response like that? Or are you ever kind of nervous about what the response is
I'm
going
not
to be?
too nervous about it. I feel that arena, we had 100% support. And they're incredible people, incredible fighters, great athletes. They're beyond athletes. No athlete can take punishment like that. 250 shots to the face during a round and then look forward to the second round, right? I mean, who does that? But Dana's amazing. And Dana's, one of the few people that you can say probably could never be the same without him. Everybody's replaceable, they say. As you get older, you'll hear that. I don't think you guys are replaceable from what I understand. I don't think so. But Dana's very unique, and what he's done with UFC is incredible, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
How does it feel to have that continued support from Dana? Because we know some people probably folded on you.
I do. I have continued support from Dana. And, Dana's a tough guy, and he's a smart guy, and he's a loyal person. And I helped Dana at the very beginning when nobody wanted to put UFC on, and I had places that were able to do it, and I did it. And I actually went to the first fight ever, and I said, wow, this is unbelievable. And I think we did five of them at the beginning, and then it started catching on. And Dana remembers that. A lot of people don't remember, like you endorse a politician and they forget
Yeah.
all of a sudden if it's convenient for them. So, but a lot of people don't. Dana's a very loyal person, and he's a good friend of mine.
But when we saw you at UFC too, Dana told us you were coming. We got really excited. And I asked you, I was like, Mr. Trump, do you want to come on the Full Send podcast again? I feel like it's such good timing right now. Like, I don't know, personally, me, I'm watching everything going on here and also abroad around the world. And I just feel like it's such a good time to have you on to speak. Cause like,
Great.
I don't care what anyone says. Like, I don't care about the backlash. Like, I feel like we need you back right now. Like, we need you back in office. And like, I feel like if people have anything against you, they got to put it aside. Cause like, I feel like you're the only one right now that can really fix the problems here and abroad.
Well, it's really nice that you say that. I appreciate it. I know you come from both sides of it, right? You have
A little bit.
You have the little bit left side and you have the little bit right side, and sometimes the strong right side, because we have to take care of our country. But we've never, as a country, been in the danger that we're in right now. You have other countries, and in particular Russia, but other countries talking the N word, which is the nuclear word in this case, and you can't use that term. You can't use.
Because there's two N words, right?
There are two N words, right? There's
Which
two
one's
N words.
worse?
They're both real bad, but you can't use the nuclear word. You just can't do it. And if you do it, nobody used it during my term because it's so devastating. It's so horrible. If you look at the power of weaponry, the power of nuclear weapons, and all of a sudden now everybody's using it. It's like become just a common part of every speech. And that leads to very bad things. Our country has never been in the danger it's been in. We don't have ammunition. I don't know if you know that. You've been reading. You guys really keep up on it, but we have very little ammunition. I gave them a brand new, beautiful military loaded up with ammunition, and we've given much of the ammunition away to Ukraine and other places. And we're very vulnerable right now. We're very vulnerable. And now on top of everything else, we're supposed to go over to Taiwan and help them. At some point, we're going to have to defend ourselves, and we're going to have to make sure that things are going along. You never heard of a problem with Taiwan, and you never heard of a problem with Ukraine just 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's like incredible to see this happening. Putin would have never, ever in a million years gone into Ukraine. And President Xi of China would have never, ever. He never talked about it. He wouldn't have done it. And I had conversations with both of them about those subjects, Taiwan and Ukraine, respectively. And I will tell you, there was no way they would have done Taiwan or Ukraine. This wouldn't have happened. And now it's almost happening routinely. I think what happened that was so bad was Afghanistan, not the withdrawal, because I had it down to 2,500 troops. We were going to keep Bagram, the big Air Force base, because it's, as you know, you've heard me say it, it's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. That's a big deal. No, that's a big deal. And I didn't need it. We didn't need it for.
And we gave that up.
We gave it up. We surrendered. And this is one of the biggest bases anywhere in the world. We just walked. You know who's occupying it very shortly? China. China's taking it over slowly but surely. And they're going to be occupying the whole thing, Bagram. And the way we left Afghanistan was, I think, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And I think that when Putin and Xi and others saw that, they said, we're incompetent. We don't know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We don't know what we're doing. And I think that emboldened him to go and do the Ukraine thing. And what a mess. But that country is being obliterated.
What's so strategic about Taiwan?
Why are we? It's 90% of the chips. You know about chips better than most people.
Yeah.
You deal in chips, but 90% of the chips and the toughest ones, the most intricate ones, they're made in. And look, they took a lot of business away from us. In all fairness, I do ask. They make tremendous amounts of money in Taiwan, and I do say, well, if we're going to defend a country, aren't we supposed to be at least partially reimbursed?
Yeah.
Because they did take our chip industry, much of it, almost all of it. and they now are they make approximately 90% of the world's chips. So that's a big thing, because you start throwing bombs in there and start blowing up those factories and labs where they make the chips. That's going to be a big world problem. There are a lot of problems, but the United States cannot do everything. And we're in a very bad position. We're in a very vulnerable position because they've given so much so fast to Ukraine that we're in a very bad defensive position. We have to build up our ammunition. Who would think that we were loaded to the gills with ammunition and everything, and we've given up so much. And now on top of it, we're supposed to go 9,000 miles away. We're 9,000 miles away from, as you know, from Taiwan, 9,000, and they're 90 miles away. This is little difference. And with that being said, we want to help people out. We want to have freedom. But, in many ways, we're no longer a democracy. When you look at what's happening in this, they've weaponized our justice system. They've done things that were unthinkable. I say we don't have a free press. Look what happened to our show the last time we did a show. Mm-hmm. You had the biggest show, you had the biggest hits, you were setting records, and they took you down.
And we were wondering why us, because you have other stuff on YouTube, press, right?
But
you have
like
Fox News interviews.
I do.
We feel like we were targeted for that.
Well, I think they targeted because it was a certain point in time, but they'll probably do it again. Let's see. Will they take this show down? Maybe, then maybe. But I love that you stuck to your guns. You said we will not change it. I think you could have probably taken certain of the things that I said and that we said together out. But you stuck, so now we'll give it another shot.
No, we couldn't.
This will be a big show. This will be even bigger.
Of course.
This will be bigger. You know why? Because we're all hotter now than we were a year ago.
How much does it hurt to have people that do fold on you and switch up?
Well, look, you do what you have to do. And I just feel that I'm here for a certain reason. I'm here to defend the United States of America. I'm here to make America great again. It's a slogan, MAGA. It's become there's probably never been a slogan like it politically in this country, definitely, maybe in the world, maybe in the history of the world, but it's make America great again. And we have to put America first. Another one that came out, America first. We never put America first. We have politicians that put America last. I think Biden puts America last. It's a real problem.
What do you think? Because it seems like now that the country's more divided than it's ever been. So what would be steps
to
unify?
I think Biden is a tremendous divisive factor.
He's a divider.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a divider. It's, he came on the basis from his basement saying that, going to bring the country together. Or his people wrote lines, they're going to bring the country together. No, I think the country is more divided now than it's ever been. I've never seen anything like it. I thought Obama was a big divider too, but I think this is worse.
Do you think that you could unify the country?
I think I can. So I tell this story when we were really rocking and rolling before COVID came in, the China virus, a gift from China. We were doing so well. We had the number one in history number of jobs. To this date, we've never had anything like it. Everybody was doing well. African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, women, men, MIT graduates, Harvard graduates, Wharton graduates, people that didn't go to high school. Everybody, every single group was doing better than they've ever done. And the country was doing the best. It was the greatest our country has ever been. China was going to supposedly for 20 years, they were going to take over. In 2018, 2019, China would become the number one country with the economy. It wasn't happening. I was absolutely destroying them. I was charging China massive tariffs. We were taking in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No president took in 10 cents, and I was taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And an amazing thing happened. I was getting calls from people that were radical left or Democrats, but Democrats with a strong lean to the left. And they wanted to get together. They wanted to talk. They were coming. I'm telling you, had COVID not come in, we would have had a unified country. I was getting calls from people that wanted to meet, wanted to talk, wanted to almost make peace because we were doing so well. It was success. Success was bringing us together. And I was never a strong believer that this would happen, but the success of our country did the best it ever did in history. I mean, far better than it does now. Now we have massive inflation. We have tremendous problems. I mean, supply chain problem. We have every problem you can have. Everything was perfect. We had the perfect mix of everything. And I was getting calls from people that I would never have gotten calls from. And they wanted to get together. And I'm telling you, our nation was coming together. So the answer is yes. I think success can bring us together. And I think we can have success. We have to have energy. You know, energy is a thing that caused inflation. When they closed up the energy, the cost of energy, the cost of a tank of gasoline, it went up to $5, $6, $7, $8 in some places. And it's still very high. And if you bring down the cost of energy and if you do some very basic things,
Get rid of the windmills.
the windmills.
That's why I didn't go to Coachella this year,
they're
because
so
when you drive to Palm Springs, you got to see all the windmills. And ever since you said that,
looks
it
like
just
a
pisses me
junkyard.
off when I see all the windmills.
How about the old ones that are sitting there rusting and nobody wants to take them down? And they say you can't put the blades underground because it would be very bad. It's a type of fiber and you can't bury it because it'll be bad for the environment if you bury it. So what are you going to do with it? Throw it up in the air? You look at certain areas around Coachella. You look at some of those areas where you have those abandoned wind farms. They look like junkyards. And remember, those windmills, many of them are very bad looking to start off. Some have a better design, but they start to rust, they start to rot. And in a certain number of years, they get abandoned. And they say, let's go to another location. No, it's like, it's a very, very expensive form of energy. And solar is not powerful enough. If you look at solar, but it's just not big enough. And here we're sitting on the greatest amount of liquid gold, oil and gas, anywhere in the world. And we have it. And we're going to Venezuela now to get it. We're going all over and we have it. We're sitting on it. And now they want to make all electric cars where the batteries are made exclusively by minerals and other things that are in China and other places that China, like the Congo, that China sort of controls, okay? And almost nothing comes out of the United States. It's almost as if they truly hate our country. Look, they're not stupid because they cheat on elections so well they can't be stupid. I really believe they must hate our country. Who wants an open border where people from mental institutions are being dumped into the U.S., where people from prisons, where entire prison populations of countries are being, and I do the same thing. If I was the president of a South American, or not only South American, they're coming from all over the world. They're dumping their prison population into the United States of America. They're dumping their people from mental institutions and words that aren't used anymore. Insane asylum. Did you ever hear? You're too young. That's where Silence of the Lamb.
Of course.
That's where Silence of the Lamb happens to be.
What's his name?
Represented. But insane asylums. These are seriously sick. They are being dumped into the United States of America, these people. There was an article I read not so long ago about a man who worked in a mental institution in South America. And he said, I work 24 hours. I have nothing to do anymore because our people that are here have all been brought to America. They've been dumped into the borders of these open borders. Who wants open borders? Who wants high interest rates? We have very high interest rates now. It's really clogging up. I mean, it's really causing a big problem. You're going to have a big recession very soon. So many different things that they're doing. Even the electric cars. Not everybody wants to drive a car for an hour and a half and then have the car.
I don't personally.
Right?
No.
I mean, you'd like to be able to drive for 6 hours or 7 hours and then get a nice load of very inexpensive gasoline. So it's very sad what's happening to our country. But the biggest thing that's happening and the scariest thing that's happening is that we've never been in a position where we're more vulnerable because of the incredible power of weaponry. And other countries have these weapons.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, because I'm watching a lot of stuff now. And to me, I feel like people are not realizing, like, how close are we to like a World War III type scenario?
One madman away. You know,
and there's a lot of them.
When
right?
I was young, I had an uncle who was a very brilliant man. He was a professor at MIT, and I believe he was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT. He was there for almost 40 years, Dr. John Trump, and he would tell me about the power of nuclear, and I sort of wouldn't believe it. And he was right. the power is so massive. It's so incredibly powerful. But everybody said, because of this power, nobody will use it, because they're assuming that people are sane. Somebody will use it. And when they use it, it will be devastation like never seen before. But the theory on nuclear is that it's so powerful that no person will ever use it. But that's assuming that people are sane. Or it's assuming that people win wars, because, you're not going to use it. But if you're going to lose a war, you'll say, hey, we're losing the war. If we use nuclear, that makes up for a lot of loss. That's what will happen. And so it's very dangerous. But the theory was that nobody would ever use it because of the power, because of the destructive capability of nuclear. And the fact is that there are people out there right now, there are countries out there right now, the leaders and the leadership, and I know a lot of them, they would use it. If forced, they would use it. And once it gets used, the world as you know it will end. And when I see these people talking about global warming, where the ocean will rise by 1/100th of an inch over the next 350 years, where it's going to get a little bit warmer or a little bit cooler, they don't know. It used to be global warming.
They don't talk about it as much, though.
No, they don't talk. No,
Al Gore went into hiding or something.
Well, no, now they call it climate change, because they said it's going to get warmer. It was getting colder. Then it was going to get colder. It's getting warmer. They used to say global cooling because they thought the world was going to freeze. That was in the 1920s. They had a thing, global cooling. Then it went to global warming, but that wasn't working. So now they go to climate change because that covers everything. But your real global warming would be nuclear global warming. That's a warming that will take seconds. And that's a warming that will melt granite. You know what granite is? It's a very powerful, very hard stone. If you take a look at Hiroshima, or Hiroshima, as a lot of people call it, Nagasaki, where they used nuclear in a very primitive form, it actually took granite, large areas of granite, and melted it. And now it's like an ice skating rink. It melted into virtual water. And now when it hardened, it was absolutely stone cold level. It melted granite. You could hit granite with a blowtorch and it won't even do anything to it. So you're talking about a level of power, a level of heat, a level of destruction. Nobody talks about that. They talk about global warming. It's sick. And we have to get rid of nuclear weapons. One of the things I was going to do, and I would have done, is the denuking of everything, the denuclearization of everything, because you have to take them away. You have to get rid of and Russia would have done it, and China would have done it. I used to talk to Putin about it. He loved the idea of doing it.
So what, we would have taken away nukes, and they would have as well?
Where you denuclearize, where you actually get rid of nuclear weapons. They're too destructive. They're so bad. They're so dangerous. A World War III will be many, many, many times greater than World War I or World War II because of the weaponry. You're not going to have army tanks going around shooting each other. You may have that too, but ultimately that won't matter. And we really, when I was doing Tucker Carlson the other night, we were talking about it. And
great guy.
He is a great guy, and we had a really good show. We talked a lot about it, and he said, that's right. What's worse? And this could take place in seconds. This isn't in 300 years from now. And the radical left never likes talking about it, and they should talk about it. And other countries know exactly what I'm talking about, and they would get rid of a lot of their nuclear weapons or their nuclear weapons. You have to do it. It's a level of danger that the world has never seen before, and people don't talk about it.
Do you think that based off your relationship with Putin, that you could convince him to withdraw from Ukraine?
He would have never gone into, we used to talk about it. He was always, look, he's in love with Ukraine. He considers it a part of Mother Russia and all. But there's zero chance he would have, I told him, not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Don't forget, I'm the one that said you can't have a pipeline. And he was okay with that. And then Biden came in and approved the pipeline. It's called Nord Stream 2. You never heard of Nord Stream 2 until I came along. Building a pipeline to Germany and all of Europe. And I said to Germany, why would you do this? If you ever ended up in a war with Russia, I will hereby give you the great white flag of surrender because that's what you need. You're going to surrender. They're going to do 80% of their energy through Russia, who they fought wars with over many years, but they fought many wars. And I said, you can't do that. Now, we are at a point in time that I believe, without question, because of the power of weaponry, is at a level that we've never had. When you go to those two places that I said, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and when you look at the destruction done many, many years ago, the destruction done, the power, and you multiply that power times 500, that's what you're talking about. And we can't have it. And we have very weak leadership. We have incompetent leadership. We have leadership that doesn't understand that this is something that can happen. We have leadership that doesn't hear other people when they talk about it. And they don't get it. We have incompetent leaders. This would never happen. All of the things that we have, you wouldn't have inflation because energy, we had energy, very inexpensive energy. We had energy independence, soon to have energy dominance. We would have been selling to Europe. We would have been selling all over the world. We were bigger when I left. We were number one in the world at energy. Natural gas, oil and natural gas. We were filling up the strategic reserves. Biden took the strategic reserves that I was filling up and he emptied them out now to the lowest point. Those reserves are meant for war, not to get people's gasoline prices down so they look at good in an election. But he did that. And now so many things have been wrong. Even we mentioned before the supply chain. Who ever heard of a supply chain problem? You order something and you get it. Now you order something and they tell you you won't have it for years. You won't have it for years. Nobody ever heard of it before. We've become somewhat of a third world country. Our election's a third world. Sorry to tell you that. And I'm sorry to probably get you canceled because the one thing they don't want to talk about is the fake election. So here we go again with the cancellation of the NELK boys, but that's okay.
You know, we had our friend Steve on the last podcast and he got canceled from YouTube. And if he's on camera, they'll delete our entire channel too. Oh, so they're taking it to the next level.
But he's my friend.
I know.
Can you get on? Come on, just at least shake my hand. Come here. At least have your hand on.
Thank you.
Come here. Oh, that's terrible. I didn't know that.
It's crazy.
So
Because I supported you.
Well, isn't that sad though?
I made videos where I bet money on you winning and I gifted you.
Well, you were right.
And I think
You were right.
I did nothing wrong either. Yeah.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
That is called, we don't have freedom of the press.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're the press because, you know, the press used to be like a piece of paper. You're the press now. You and other people and other things, whether it's internet or not. I didn't know that. That's terrible.
Do you think that we're becoming like a third world country where we're going after like former leaders, like a banana republic?
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's what they do in third world countries. They go after former leaders so they can't come back. I have people investigating me over nothing, over things like the boxes hoax. And we had a DA from New York who campaigned, and an AG in New York, campaigned on, I will get Trump. But they investigate me over things that Biden has been horrible with. He's broken every law, every regulation in the book, every single regulation in the book. Nobody talks about that because it's called election interference.
Everyone sees it now, though.
They see it. Oh, they see it. Well, you know, when they announced this event, my poll numbers went up. You see my poll number. I'm beating I'm beating Biden by a lot. But what they want to do is investigate you and keep investigating. Because if I was doing badly in the polls, number one, you'd be able to put me on, but nobody would care. Maybe, but you wouldn't be canceled. But if I was doing badly in the polls, there would be no investigations. There'd be no problems. Or if I would not run, there would be no problems. Although I think in my case, in my case, they hate me so much. I think it doesn't even matter. I mean, you know, 2016 was amazing. And 2020, we did much better than we did in 2016. We got many millions of votes more, millions and millions of votes more. I think we got 10 million more votes than Obama got. If you think Obama got votes, we got 10 million more votes. I was told if we got the same number of votes as we did in 2016, you couldn't lose. We got millions more votes, and it was a rigged election. By the way, good luck with this piece.
Another thing I want to ask too, something historic that I'm always amazed by what you did is how you got along so well with all these world leaders, especially Kim Jong Un.
I did.
What was he like as like a person? Because he's like such a mysterious
Yeah, he is
Batman
totally.
kind of like figure. No one knows what he's like. What is Kim Jong Un?
Well, first of all,
like?
he's very smart, and he's very cunning, and he's very ruthless.
How so? Like what makes him so smart?
Well, I guess genetically he was born pretty smart. Don't forget, he took over a country at 23, and even though he was sort of like, it was like an inheritance, this is a country with smart, energetic people. He, from a very early start, got it. He took it over from his father, but very young. And you had generals, and you had all of these people and armies, and and he gained control. And let me tell you, he is the boss of that country. But I got to know him very well. And I think we would have had nuclear war. Had Obama been able to stay, or had crooked Hillary Clinton become president, you would have had a nuclear war with North Korea. Absolutely. I think you would have had. And if you remember with me, it was very rough. Little Rocket Man, and he was calling me names, and I'm calling him names. And remember, he said, I have a red button on my desk, and it's got very big power. And I said, no, I have a much bigger button than you do, and my button works. And we went through so
how'd
much.
you guys squash that? Because Little Rocket Man, that's a big church.
So
How
we
did
went
he
through,
get past that?
I said, did you ever hear of the song Rocket Man when I was with him? He said, no. Did you ever hear of Elton John? No. I actually handed him the song Rocket Man, which is a pretty good song by Elton John, but he never heard, because it truly is. It's a country.
Wait, you gave him the...
I gave him, tape. And
like a vinyl?
I didn't show that it was made in South Korea, frankly. That the recorder it said South Korea. I said, take that off. We had it chiseled off. He probably figured it out. No, he's a very smart guy. And, every time I say that, the fake news media goes, oh, he said he was smart. The other day I was talking with Tucker about President Xi of China. He rules powerfully. He rules almost 1.5 billion people. And, you could say that they're eating our lunch. And I said, no, he's at the top of his game. And the others are at the top. They're all at the top of the game, except our guy. He's not at the top of his game, and he never was, to be honest. But he's not at the top of his game. Now, you have other people surrounding him who are vicious and ruthless, the same people that take you down because of, that you're not on. That's very, I kept saying, where the hell is T? What happened to him? That's terrible.
It's great.
I hope you're, so that means they cut you out. You get no profit. You get no nothing. You're finished, right? I'm only kidding. I hope you don't do that. Otherwise, I'm going to come and stick up. No, I'm only kidding. I think that's such a terrible thing. You know what you just said about that? I say we no longer have a democracy, and I say we don't have free speech. That's an incredible form of not having free speech. They took him down for what? Because he likes Trump?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's exactly what I've been saying. But we're going to win. Look, we're going to take it back. The country has never been more unified in the sense that they have to have change. I'll tell you, this election coming up, they go after me because I stick up for the people. If I didn't stick up for the people, they wouldn't. But they go after me because I'm protecting the people. This election coming up is going to be incredible. And I will say, I think 2016 was maybe the biggest thing that ever happened in politics in this country. I think 2024 has a chance to be as big. I don't know if it could be bigger.
It's going to be big.
But I think it's going to be as big. And I think it's much bigger than if I had won, which I did win, but had it been more traditional with the 8 years together. I think the win of 2024 will be much, much bigger than if it was a traditional, because you're going to be able to show how bad things were under their rule.
Do you think that your biggest competition lies within your own party?
Yeah. Like from the people running in the party?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're really fading fast. I mean, it's fading very, very quickly. You have a guy from Florida, Ron DeSantis, who I got in with my endorsement. He was at 3 points. He was nothing. He was not going to win. He was going to lose, and I endorsed him. And then when they asked him not only there, then I got him through the general election. He was running against somebody who at the time was considered very good as a politician. And then when they asked him a few years later, are you going to run against the president? He said, I have no comment. I said, that's not supposed to happen. He was dead politically. I endorsed him and saved him. Had I endorsed, he was losing by like 25, 30 points very shortly before the election. When I endorsed him, he went like a rocket ship, like
You love
Rocket
that.
Man.
You love that song,
like
huh?
Rocket Man. He went like a rocket. I should call him Rocket Man, but now he's Rocket Man that's crashing. His polls are terrible. I'm leading him in every state, and we just came out with they just came out with new polls. I'm leading him everywhere.
Why do you think he's what? Like besides that, because he's done a pretty good job with Florida. You agree? Why do you think you're a better choice than DeSantis?
Well, actually, if you look at the numbers, he didn't do a great job. If you take a look at the numbers, he's very high on crime, very high, right at the top, almost at the top. I think he gets good publicity, although now people are starting, because I'm putting out the COVID numbers. He didn't do well on COVID. He had more deaths than almost every country in Florida. I hate to say it because Florida's my state, but he did not do well. It's very interesting. I don't want to knock anybody, but the thing he did well on is public relations, because the numbers weren't what they pretended to be. With all of that being said, when you help somebody, I believe in loyalty. You just don't do what he did. Now, he's out campaigning. I assume he's going to run, but I think the numbers are so bad now that a lot of people are assuming that he won't run. And
Would you consider him like to be your running mate?
I don't see it. I mean, I don't see it. We have a lot of great people in the Republican Party. Could be. I'm going to speak right now in front of a lot of them. I mean, they're actually all waiting for me because I'm talking to the NELK boys.
Let's go.
But they don't realize that the NELK boys are probably a lot more powerful than them. I can tell you, when I did your last show, when I did that show, I got more calls from people that I hadn't heard of in 20 years. They're saying, that was the greatest show. So you've done a great job, fellas. Right
Thank you. That
across
means
the
a lot.
hall, right across the hall. You have the most powerful people in the nation. You have the most powerful governors, senators. You have everybody waiting for me to speak. And here I am sitting with you, not saying to hurry up because you're the NELK boys,
You're the
right?
best.
That's
Love
pretty
that.
good.
Thank
You're the best.
You talked about Rocket Man, how you love that song. People don't know this, but you have a Spotify song, don't you?
What?
A song on Spotify, right?
Are you Spotify?
You hit
Yeah.
the Billboard charts.
You hit the top of the charts.
Oh, so we did that's right. I had The Apprentice. It went to #1. I did great in real estate. I did great in politics. But the one thing I hadn't done, I always wanted to be Elvis Presley. I hadn't hit #1 on the charts. No, we did a thing. It was actually very beautiful. A version of a very important song that you probably heard. And it was done by the J6 prisoners who have been treated horribly. When you see the way Antifa got treated and so many others that did such destruction and caused death, and these people were treated horribly, and they asked would I do a voiceover. I did basically a voiceover of the song. And it went to #1 on Billboard, on iTunes. These are names I never even heard of 3 weeks ago. But iTunes, #1, Billboard, #1. Billboard's like a big deal because that's sort of like
Oh, yeah.
you would tell me. But as you know, it went to it's Donald J. Trump and the J6 Choir.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's January 6th. And it shows you where the country is. But this song stayed there. And then interestingly, it was taken down by a group because they wanted to try and kill it because they hated that it was #1. And they said, we accidentally made a mistake in taking it down and we'll be putting it up. And they put it up a couple of days and it went back to #1 again. They tried to kill it by creating a little separation. No, it was a great honor to do it with them. And it was a great honor to see it hit #1. I didn't expect that.
Are you going to be coming out with any follow-up songs or?
Well, we'll do something. We have a lot of things planned, but we're going to have an exciting campaign. We have rallies planned all over the country, and they're going to be massive rallies. I don't know. You guys
We'd love
maybe,
to come. We'd love to
Well,
come.
we'll have you at the rallies.
We'll be there.
You guys may be able to do bigger rallies than me, but I'm not sure about that.
No,
But
definitely
you'll
not. We'll
do-
get there one
you
day.
could do big
We'll
rallies.
get there one day. Give
Yeah.
us, give
You're
us
going to
20
be
years or
there.
something.
You'll be there. No, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by what you've done.
Awesome. Well, we were thinking we want to end off with a little rapid fire. We have a couple names. You say one word about them.
Go ahead. Which one do you
Elon
like?
Musk. One word.
One word, smart.
Joe Biden.
Dumb. No.
Kim Jong-un.
Interesting. Very interesting.
O.J. Simpson, which we had on this podcast.
Well, I knew
actually.
OJ very well. I knew him very well. I better not get into it. I knew OJ so well. It
Cheater
was-
on the golf course.
No, I don't think he cheats. But I'd say golf. I mean, he loves playing golf. I just say golf because I want to be very nice. You know, that was a terrible situation.
Kim Kardashian.
Disingenuous.
Justin Trudeau.
See, I help.
I'm from Canada, by the way, too.
Extraordinarily liberal, as it turned out. You know, I never like one word because you really need more than one word to define people. But it's already much different than people thought. I had a pretty good relationship with him, but much different. I've had better relationships with some. Liberal.
Ice Spice.
Who the hell is Ice Spice?
The song? You don't know Ice Spice? Like, munch.
You've heard the song.
Go ahead, play
She's
it for
below
me.
you on the charts.
Play it. Well, I like it. Okay, I like it. Go ahead.
Oh, I think that's all the names.
Are aliens real?
That was the last question.
That's an interesting. I don't personally.
You don't talk about aliens.
I don't.
much.
I'm not a big alien person. I got enough things going without worrying about it. But I'll tell you what. You have a lot of smart people that think that there happens to be a certain site that's the #1 most visited site in the whole country. You know that,
What's
right?
that?
Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they think the aliens come down and.
I haven't been on that.
I'll tell you about it after the show.
I thought it was a different site.
One
last question. Biden said that you actually left him a very generous letter when you left office. Is there anything you can include that you said to him?
So I did. No, I wrote him a letter. It's a tradition as president. When you leave, you write a letter to the person coming in. No, I wrote a beautiful letter. I mean, if he wanted to give it, he could do that. But it was a nice letter. I got a nice letter from President Obama.
Amazing.
Thank you
President
very
Trump,
much.
we gotta go.
Thank you so much, man.
I think we might come to your rally. We'll watch you speak.
Why don't you come up? I'd love to have you.
We'd love you.
know?
We'd love to do that.
You'll be the most important people in the room.
But we really
but these are
appreciate
the
you.
biggest people in politics. You have no idea how late I am, and I didn't rush you.
Thank you
right?
so much.
We appreciate
it.
Thank you so
Like
much.
I said, we wanted to have you on right now because I think we need you back, Mr. President.
Well, the next time a certain other gentleman's going to be up here,
Yeah.
at least put your hand on camera. See that hand? Or that's going to get us.
Mr. Trump, I have something for you.
What?
Me and Kyle got you something. I want to ask you a question because I cannot be.
Go
on the
ahead.
podcast.
Let's go.
You're a billionaire, awesome guy. Why don't you just fuck off and go to an island?
I get that question so much.
like,
It's
why-
true. They say, why do you do this?
Why
You
do
know
you do
why? Because I love our country and I want to make America great again.
Okay.
I just love our country. And we still have tremendous hope and tremendous potential. I want to make America great again. It's more important.
I have another question.
Go
You know
ahead.
Joe DiMaggio?
Yes.
You like him?
Jolton Joe. Well,
You like him?
he was a great baseball player. Are you saying about where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio?
No, I just wanted me and Kyle got you
Oh,
got you this gift.
wow.
a game
Well,
used bat from Joe DiMaggio.
Well, that's a big deal.
Check it out.
Jolton Joe.
yeah, it's authentic. Here's the-
Wow, that's very
We got
good.
you, yeah.
Well, that's a very expensive gift. I appreciate it. I mean, I know you guys are making a fortune.
No,
But,
but we.
Well, you're
we
bringing the
lost-
ratings, so we wanted to kind of do
well,
a little
I am
rev share
bringing
with
you
right?
ratings.
Exactly.
We're bringing you ratings that we always will. We'll do it again. And you're right. Dana's the one that got me started on this thing. You guys,
Exactly.
but I have a lot of respect for the job you've done. Hey, that's really great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
course,
That's
you deserve
really-
it.
Trump, President
Thank you very
Trump.
much.
Thank you to President Trump.
Okay, we got to get him back. We got to get him back. You take care of yourself. We got to get you back.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, we'll let you go.
Hey, that's pretty good. A bat from
Pretty cool.
Jolton Joe DiMaggio.
He's pretty excited about it.
I am keeping the biggest, most powerful politicians in the whole country waiting for you guys.
Thank you, Mr.
We
Trump.
appreciate that.
And I'll stay here for another hour if you like. Okay. Come with us if you want. Come on, have a good time. Questions.
We'll see you.
Take care,
We'll
fellas.
come
on
watch
in.
you
We'll have
speak.
a
We'll watch you
little fun.
speak.
We got to get this guy.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're going. Thank you.
You're the man, Mr. President.
Thanks for the bat, too. So long. Thanks.
Yeah, take care.
Thanks, President. Love you, Mr. President.
Crazy. Let's go.
You guys better drop a thumbs up. If you're watching this on YouTube before it gets deleted, drop a thumbs up. Drop a comment. Full Send podcast. No one's doing it like us. No competition, straight up. This is crazy.